Romeo and Juliet is one of the most famous love stories ever written. Created by William Shakespeare, this tragic tale takes place in the beautiful Italian city of Verona. From the very beginning, the story tells us that two young lovers are destined to die because of fate and family hatred. Their love is pure and powerful, yet surrounded by anger and violence. Romeo and Juliet is not just a love story, it is a warning about how hatred can destroy even the most beautiful emotions. Verona is a peaceful city on the surface, but beneath it lies a long and bitter feud. Two noble families, the Montagues and the Capulets, have hated each other for generations. No one remembers how the conflict started, but the anger remains alive in every heart. Their servants fight in the streets, spreading fear and chaos. This hatred poisons the city and sets the stage for tragedy. The feud becomes the invisible enemy of the story, stronger than swords. One morning, a violent fight breaks out between the servants of the Montagues and Capulets. Swords are drawn, and chaos fills the streets of Verona. Citizens panic as blood is spilled over old hatred. The Prince of Verona arrives and angrily stops the fight. He warns both families that any future violence will be punished by death. Though the streets fall silent, the hatred remains. This warning shows that peace is fragile and that tragedy is slowly approaching. Romeo Montague is introduced as a young man deeply lost in his emotions. He is not yet in love with Juliet but with a girl named Rosalind, who does not return his feelings. Romeo spends his days wandering alone, writing poetry, and speaking sadly about love. His cousin Benvolio tries to comfort him and reminds him that heartbreak is part of youth. Romeo's emotional nature shows that he loves deeply and feels intensely, qualities that will later shape his destiny. Juliet Capulet is only 13 years old. She is kind, innocent, and respectful toward her parents. Juliet has not yet experienced love and does not fully understand its power. Her mother and nurse speak to her about marriage, as a nobleman named Paris wishes to marry her. Juliet calmly listens and says she will try to love him if she can. This shows her honesty and purity, making her later transformation even more powerful. Lord Capulet announces a grand feast at his house and invites many noble guests from Verona. The celebration is meant to bring joy and honor to the Capulet family. Romeo's friends, Mercutio and Benvolio, convince him to attend the party in disguise. Romeo hesitates because of a bad dream, feeling something terrible may happen. Still, he decides to go, unaware that this single decision will change his life forever. Romeo enters the Capulet feast wearing a mask, hiding his identity from his enemies. Music fills the hall, and people dance joyfully. As Romeo looks around, his eyes suddenly meet Juliet's. In that moment, the world seems to stop. He forgets Rosalind completely. Juliet also feels an instant connection. Their hearts recognize each other before their minds understand the danger. Fate quietly brings the two enemies together under one roof. Romeo approaches Juliet, and they speak in gentle, poetic words. Their conversation is playful yet deeply meaningful. Neither knows the other's family name, only the strong feeling growing between them. Their words flow like poetry, and before they part, they share their first kiss. It is innocent, sudden, and powerful. Soon after, they learn the terrible truth: Romeo is a Montague, and Juliet is a Capulet. Love and danger collide in a single. When Romeo learns Juliet is a Capulet, his heart fills with fear and desire at the same time. Juliet is equally shocked to learn Romeo's identity. They realize their love is forbidden by family hatred. Yet neither can deny what they feel. This moment shows the power of love. It rises naturally, without permission, even between enemies. Their love does not care about family names, only about the truth of the heart. After the feast ends, Romeo cannot forget Juliet. Instead of returning home, he sneaks back to the Capulet garden under the cover of darkness. His heart pulls him toward her like a force he cannot resist. The night is quiet, filled with stars and destiny. Romeo climbs the garden wall, risking his life for a single glimpse of Juliet. This bold action proves that his love is no longer a simple feeling, it is becoming a powerful commitment. Juliet appears on her balcony, believing she is alone under the night sky. She speaks openly about her love for Romeo, wishing he were not a Montague. She questions why a name should define a person's worth. Romeo, hidden below, listens in awe. Hearing Juliet's true feelings fills his heart with joy and courage. This moment shows Juliet's honesty and emotional depth. She loves Romeo not for his name, but for who he truly is. Unable to remain hidden, Romeo reveals himself beneath the balcony. Juliet is shocked and frightened, knowing Romeo's life is in danger if discovered. Romeo declares that love has given him courage stronger than fear. He says he would rather face death than live without her love. Juliet warns him of the danger, but Romeo's words are sincere and passionate. Their love grows deeper as trust replaces fear in the quiet night. Romeo and Juliet exchange promises of love beneath the stars. Juliet worries about the suddenness of their feelings, but Romeo assures her his love is true. They speak carefully, knowing fate is listening. Finally, Juliet agrees to marry Romeo if he truly intends to honor her. Their conversation is filled with innocence, hope, and urgency. This moment marks the turning point, from secret attraction to lifelong commitment, made without witnesses but sealed by the heart. Before parting, Romeo and Juliet create a plan. Romeo will go to Friar Lawrence at dawn and arrange a secret marriage. Juliet promises to send her nurse to receive the details. They part reluctantly, wishing the night would never end. As dawn approaches, reality returns. Though separated by walls and family hatred, their hearts are united. Love has made them brave enough to challenge fate itself. Romeo visits Friar Lawrence, a wise and gentle priest, and tells him about his love for Juliet. The friar is surprised by Romeo's sudden change from Rosalind. However, he agrees to marry them in secret, hoping their union will end the long feud between the Montagues and Capulets. Though cautious, the friar believes love may bring peace where anger has failed. This decision, made with good intentions, will shape the fate of everyone involved. Juliet anxiously waits as her nurse goes to meet Romeo. The nurse returns slowly, teasing Juliet and increasing her impatience. Finally, she delivers the joyful news: Romeo plans to marry Juliet that very day. Juliet's excitement overflows. She prepares to leave her home secretly, trusting the nurse completely. This scene shows the innocence of Juliet's happiness, unaware of the dangers ahead. For now, love feels stronger than fear. Romeo and Juliet meet at Friar Lawrence's cell and are secretly married. The ceremony is simple and quiet, yet filled with deep emotion. They believe their love will bring peace to their families. Holding hands, they step into marriage with hope and faith. For a brief moment, the world feels kind and forgiving. This wedding represents the highest point of happiness in the story, a calm before the coming storm of tragedy. Tybalt, Juliet's fiery cousin, is furious after discovering Romeo attended the Capulet feast. He searches for Romeo, eager to challenge him to a duel. Tybalt represents the violence and pride of the family feud. Unlike Romeo, he believes honor is defended through bloodshed. His anger grows stronger, pushing the story toward disaster. While love grows quietly in secret, hatred moves loudly in the open streets of Verona. Romeo meets his friends Mercutio and Benvolio in the streets of Verona. Though Romeo is newly married, he keeps his happiness hidden. Mercutio jokes and mocks love, unaware of Romeo's secret. Tybalt arrives and insults Romeo, demanding a fight. Romeo refuses, speaking calmly, which confuses everyone. Mercutio mistakes Romeo's peace for weakness. Tension rises as words sharpen into threats, and fate moves closer to violence. Unable to accept Romeo's refusal, Mercutio steps forward and challenges Tybalt. The fight turns violent and chaotic. Romeo tries to stop them, but his interference causes Mercutio to be fatally wounded. As he dies, Mercutio curses both families for their hatred. His death shatters Romeo's peace and fills him with rage. In a moment of grief and anger, Romeo fights Tybalt and kills him. Love gives way to violence, and tragedy truly begins. After Tybalt's death, the Prince of Verona arrives and demands justice. The city is shocked by the violence. Though Romeo has killed Tybalt, the prince remembers Tybalt's cruelty and Mercutio's death. Instead of ordering execution, he banishes Romeo from Verona forever. For Romeo, this punishment feels worse than death. Exile means life without Juliet. His dreams of love and peace collapse instantly as fate tightens its grip. Juliet waits joyfully for Romeo, unaware of the tragedy that has occurred. When the nurse arrives, her words are confusing and filled with grief. Slowly, the truth is revealed: Tybalt is dead, and Romeo has been banished. Juliet's heart breaks between love and family loyalty. She cries for Tybalt but chooses Romeo in her heart. This moment shows Juliet's maturity as she accepts love's painful cost. Romeo secretly comes to Juliet's room before dawn. The lovers spend their final night together, holding each moment tightly. As morning approaches, they argue gently over whether the bird they hear is the nightingale or the lark. Dawn means separation. Romeo must leave or be killed. Their farewell is filled with tears, promises, and fear. When Romeo finally climbs away, Juliet feels a deep sense of loss, as if darkness has entered her soul. Believing Juliet's sadness is caused by Tybalt's death, Lord Capulet decides she must marry Paris immediately. He announces the wedding without asking Juliet's opinion. When Juliet refuses, her father explodes with anger and threatens to disown her. Her mother turns away, offering no comfort. Juliet realizes she is completely alone. The family that once protected her now becomes another force pushing her toward tragedy. Desperate for help, Juliet turns to her nurse, hoping for comfort. To her shock, the nurse advises her to forget Romeo and marry Paris. This advice feels like betrayal. Juliet hides her true feelings and pretends to agree, but inside, she feels abandoned by the last person she trusted. From this moment, Juliet stands alone. She decides to rely only on herself and her love for Romeo. Juliet visits Friar Lawrence and begs for a solution. The friar creates a risky plan. He gives Juliet a potion that will place her in a deep sleep, making her appear dead for 42 hours. During this time, Romeo will be informed and come to rescue her from the family tomb. Though frightened, Juliet agrees. Death seems better than a life without love. Courage replaces fear as she accepts her fate. Alone in her room, Juliet prepares to drink the potion. Fear fills her mind. What if the potion is poison? What if she awakens among corpses? Despite the terror, she chooses love over fear. With steady hands, Juliet drinks the potion and falls onto her bed. Silence fills the room. This moment shows the strength of her love and the bravery of her young heart. The next morning, Juliet is found motionless. Cries of horror fill the Capulet house. Joyful wedding plans turn instantly into mourning. Paris grieves, believing his bride is dead. Juliet is placed in the family tomb, surrounded by flowers and sorrow. The city mourns her loss. But the cruel twist of fate is already unfolding. The message meant for Romeo never reaches him in time. Romeo hears the false news of Juliet's death and returns to Verona in despair. He buys poison, determined to die beside her. At the tomb, he meets Paris, who challenges him. Romeo kills Paris and enters the tomb. Seeing Juliet's lifeless body, he speaks words of eternal love. Believing there is no life without her, Romeo drinks the poison and dies at her side, faithful to love until the end. Juliet awakens to find Romeo dead beside her. Her cries echo through the tomb. Seeing no poison left, she takes Romeo's dagger and ends her life. When the families arrive, they are shattered by the sight of their children's bodies. The Montagues and Capulets finally realize the terrible cost of their hatred. They end their feud and promise peace. Romeo and Juliet's love, born in secrecy, becomes a powerful lesson. Love can change the world, but hatred can destroy it.
If you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe to my small channel. Your support means the world to me.